Class 6. Subject: Science. Chapter 5. Human body and its movements. Human body. The human body refers to the physical structure and biological system that comprises an individual human being. It is a complex organism made up of various interconnected systems, organs, tissues, and cells, all working together to maintain life and carry out essential functions. The human body consists of several major systems, including the skeletal system, muscular system, circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, endocrine system, immune system, reproductive system, and integumentary system, skin, hair, and nails. Each system has specific functions and contributes to the overall functioning and well-being of the body. Human body movements. The human body is capable of a wide range of movements due to its intricate musculoskeletal system in coordination of muscles, joints, and nerves. These movements can be categorized into different types. 1. Flexion and extension. Flexion refers to bending or decreasing the angle between two body parts, such as bending the elbow or bringing the knee towards the chest. Extension, on the other hand, is the opposite movement, where the angle between body parts increases, like straightening the arm or leg. 2. Abduction and adduction. Abduction involves moving a body part away from the midline of the body. For instance, raising the arm sideways is an example of abduction. Adduction, on the contrary, refers to bringing a body part back towards the midline, such as bringing the arm back down to the side of the body. 3. Rotation. Rotation involves turning or twisting a body part around its axis. Examples of rotational movements include turning the head from side to side or twisting the torso. 4. Circumduction. Circumduction is a combination of flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction. It occurs when a body part moves in a circular motion. An example of circumduction is when the arm moves in a circular motion, as in making a big arm circle. 5. Dorsiflexion and plantarflexion. Dorsiflexion is the movement of bending the foot towards the shin, as if standing on your heels. Plantarflexion, on the other hand, is the movement of pointing the foot downward, like standing on tiptoes. 6. Pronation and supination. Pronation is the rotation of the forearm in a way that the palm faces downward or backward. Supination, on the contrary, is the rotation of the forearm so that the palm faces upward or forward. 7. Elevation and depression. Elevation refers to raising a body part, such as shrugging the shoulders. Depression is the opposite movement, lowering the elevated body part back down. 8. Flexion and hyperextension of the spine. Flexion of the spine involves bending forward, as in touching the toes. Hyperextension is the extreme backward bending of the spine, such as leaning back as far as possible. 9. Inversion and eversion. Inversion is the movement of turning the sole of the foot inward, towards the midline of the body. Eversion, conversely, is the movement of turning the sole of the foot outward, away from the midline. Skeletal system. The skeletal system is a complex structure in the human body that provides support, protection, and mobility. It is composed of bones, cartilage, ligaments, and tendons. Primary functions of the skeletal system. 1. Support. The skeletal system forms the framework that supports the body's soft tissues and organs. It provides structure and rigidity, allowing us to maintain an upright posture and perform various movements. 2. Protection. The bones of the skeletal system protect vital organs and delicate tissues from injury and damage. For example, the skull protects the brain, the ribcage shields the heart and lungs, and the spinal vertebrae. Safeguard the spinal cord. 3. Movement. The skeletal system works in conjunction with muscles and joints to enable movement. Bones serve as attachment points for muscles, and when muscles contract, they pull on the bones, generating movement at the joints. 4. Blood cell production. Within certain bones, such as the long bones, e.g., femur and humerus, and flat bones, e.g., sternum and pelvis, a soft, spongy tissue called bone marrow is present. Bone marrow is responsible for producing red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets through a process called hematopoiesis. 5. Mineral storage. Bones act as reservoirs for important minerals, primarily calcium and phosphorus. These minerals can be released from bones into the bloodstream when needed for various bodily functions, such as muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and maintaining proper fuel levels. Endoskeleton. When a skeleton is inside the body, it is called endoskeleton. Example: human beings. Exoskeleton. When a skeleton is outside the body, it is called exoskeleton. Example: cockroach. There are 206 bones in the human skeleton. These bones of the skeleton are connected through joints. There are a total 300 bones in a human skeleton during birth. When the child grows, some bones fused together, and by adulthood, the number of bones decreases to 206. Skeletal system consists of carpals. Carpals are a group of 8 small bones found in the wrist. They form the wrist joint and provide flexibility and support for movements of the hand and fingers. Rib cage. The rib cage is a bony structure that surrounds and protects the thoracic cavity, where the heart and lungs are located. It consists of 12 pairs of ribs, which are attached to the thoracic vertebrae at the back and to the sternum, breastbone, at the front. The rib cage plays a crucial role in protecting the vital organs and also assists in the process of breathing. Backbone, spine, vertebral column. The backbone, also known as the spine or vertebral column, is a series of 33 individual bones called vertebrae. It extends from the skull to the pelvis and provides support and stability to the body. The spine also houses and protects the spinal cord, which is a vital part of the nervous system. Shoulder bones. The shoulder girdle consists of several bones, including the clavicle, collarbone, and scapular, shoulder blade. The clavicle connects the sternum to the scapula, while the scapula connects the upper arm bone, humerus, to the collarbone. The shoulder bones play a crucial role in shoulder movement and provide an attachment point for muscles that control arm and shoulder movement. Pelvic bones, hip bones. The pelvis is a bony structure formed by 2 pelvic bones, which are also known as hip bones. Each hip bone consists of 3 parts: the ilium, ischium, and pubis. The pelvis provides support for the spine and organs in the lower abdominal area and also serves as an attachment site for muscles of the lower back, abdomen, and thighs. Cartilage. Cartilage is a flexible and elastic connective tissue found in various parts of the body, such as the joints, ears, and nose. It provides cushioning and shock absorption, reducing friction between bones at joints. Cartilage is less rigid than bone but still provides structural support and shape to certain body parts. Muscles. Muscles are soft tissues that work in conjunction with the skeletal system to enable movement. They are responsible for various bodily movements, from simple actions like walking and smiling to complex activities like playing sports or playing musical instruments. Contraction. Contraction refers to the process by which muscles shorten and generate force. When muscles contract, they pull on the bones they are attached to, causing movement at the joints. This allows us to perform voluntary movements like lifting objects or running, and involuntary movements like the beating of the heart or digestion. Joints. Joints are the points of connection between bones that allow movement and flexibility within the skeletal system. There are different types of joints, each with its own structure and range of motion. Types of joints. 1. Ball and socket joints. 2. Pivot joints. 3. Hinge joints. 4. Fixed, immovable joints. Ball and socket joints. Ball and socket joints are characterized by the rounded end of one bone fitting into a cup-shaped cavity of another bone. This structure allows for a wide range of motion in multiple directions. The spherical head of one bone rotates within the socket of another bone. Examples of ball and socket joints include the shoulder joint and the hip joint. These joints enable movements such as rotation, flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction. Pivot joints. Pivot joints consist of a rounded or pointed bone that rotates within a ring formed by another bone or ligament. The rotation occurs around a central axis. An example of a pivot joint is the joint between the first and second cervical vertebrae, which allows for the rotational movement of the head. Pivot joints facilitate rotation and turning movements. Hinge joints. Hinge joints resemble the movement of a hinge on a door, allowing movement primarily in one plane, like opening and closing a door. They enable flexion and extension movements. Hinge joints have a convex surface of one bone fitting into the concave surface of another bone. Examples of hinge joints include the elbow joint, knee joint, and interphalangeal joints of the fingers and toes. Fixed, immovable joints. Fixed joints, also known as immovable joints, are joints that have no movement between the bones. These joints are highly stable and provide strength and support to the body. They are found in areas where the bones are tightly fused or joined by fibrous connective tissue. Examples of fixed joints include the sutures between the skull bones, which help protect the brain. Bones. Bones are hard, dense connective tissues that form the structural framework of the human body. They are living tissues that undergo growth, repair, and remodeling throughout a person's life. Bones have several important functions in the body. 1. Support and protection. One of the primary functions of bones is to provide a rigid framework that supports and protects the softer tissues and organs of the body. For example, the skull protects the brain, the ribcage shields the heart and lungs, and the vertebral column supports and protects the spinal cord. 2. Movement. Bones work in conjunction with muscles and joints to facilitate movement. Muscles attach to bones via tendons, and when muscles contract, they pull on the bones, generating movement at the joints. This allows us to perform activities like walking, running, lifting, and grasping. 3. Blood cell production. Within certain bones, a soft, spongy tissue called bone marrow is found. Bone marrow is responsible for the production of new blood cells through a process called hematopoiesis. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets are produced in the bone marrow and play crucial roles in carrying oxygen, fighting infections, and promoting blood clotting. 4. Mineral storage. Bones serve as a reservoir for important minerals, primarily calcium and phosphorus. These minerals can be released from bones into the bloodstream when needed for various bodily functions, such as muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and maintaining proper fuel levels. Bones help regulate the balance of minerals in the body. 5. Framework for the body. Bones provide the structural framework that determines the shape and form of the body. They give support and shape to the muscles, tissues, and organs, contributing to overall body strength and stability. Gait of animals. The gait of animals refers to the specific manner in which they move or walk. Different animals exhibit unique gaits that are adapted to their anatomical structures and environments. Earthworm. Earthworms move through a form of locomotion called peristalsis. They use circular and longitudinal muscle contractions to push and stretch their bodies, creating waves of movement that allow them to crawl and burrow through soil or substrate. Snail. Snails move by utilizing a muscular foot that glides along a layer of mucus secreted by their bodies. They contract and relax muscles in a wave-like motion, propelling themselves forward. The mucus reduces friction and facilitates smooth movement. Cockroach. Cockroaches have a scuttling gait, characterized by rapid and agile movement. They use their 6 legs to move swiftly, employing alternating tripod support, where 3 legs are on the ground while the other 3 are in the air. This gait allows them to quickly navigate their environment and evade potential threats. Birds. Birds have a distinctive gait known as bipedal locomotion, as they walk on 2 legs. Their gait involves a hopping or stepping motion, where they alternate their legs, moving one forward while the other remains stationary. The movement is coordinated with the flapping of wings for balance and stability. Fish. Fish use different methods of propulsion for swimming, depending on their species. Many fish exhibit a streamlined motion, where they undulate their bodies from side to side to generate thrust and move through the water. The movement of the tail in fins propels them forward, while the streamlined shape reduces drag and allows for efficient swimming. Streamlined. Streamlined refers to a shape that minimizes resistance to fluid flow, such as water or air. It is often associated with objects or organisms designed to move efficiently through their medium. Streamlined shapes are characterized by smooth, curved surfaces that reduce turbulence and drag, allowing for faster movement with less energy expenditure. Fish, birds, and other organisms that move through fluids have evolved streamlined body forms to optimize their locomotion and reduce the resistance they encounter. How do snakes move? Snakes have a unique mode of movement called serpentine locomotion or undulatory locomotion. This movement allows snakes to slither and maneuver through various terrains, including the ground, trees, and water. Here's a brief explanation of how snakes move. Snakes move by flexing and extending their bodies in a series of curves or waves. They push against objects in their environment, such as the ground or branches, to generate forward motion. The key to their movement lies in the coordination of muscular contractions and the friction between their belly scales and the surface they are on. To initiate movement, snakes anchor the scales on their belly against the ground or object they are on. Then, using a combination of muscle contractions and body weight shifts, they push backward against the anchored points, causing their body to bend into a curve. As the muscles on one side of their body contract, they create a wave-like motion that moves along the body, from head to tail. This wave travels along the snake's body, pushing against the ground and propelling it forward. As the wave moves, the muscles on the other side of the body contract, while the muscles on the previous side relax. This alternating pattern of muscle contractions and relaxations generates a continuous undulating motion that allows the snake to move forward with remarkable agility and flexibility. By adjusting the frequency, amplitude, and speed of their undulations, snakes can control their speed and change direction. They can also adapt their movement to different surfaces, such as sand, grass, or branches, by adjusting the way they anchor and push against the ground. Serpentine locomotion enables snakes to navigate tight spaces, climb trees, swim through water, and traverse various terrains with ease. It is a highly efficient mode of movement that allows them to move gracefully and silently, while also helping them capture prey and evade predators. It's important to note that there are different species of snakes, and their locomotion may vary slightly depending on factors such as body shape, habitat, and specialized adaptations. However, the basic principle of undulatory locomotion remains the same across most snake species.